The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Very far, because in addition to having stellar athletes, you were a stellar coach during your period here. Let me read your plaque, please. Coach Bivens led the Lady Eagles to 216 victories between 1979 and 1987 for a winning percentage of 742. His teams made 5 NAIA national appearances and won 6 conference championships. He recruited and coached 6 All-Americans while here at Carson-Newman. Coach Louis Bivens.
Mr. Barga, one other thing about Karen Morton is kind of a fitting ending story since she's no longer with us, but probably some of you know in 1991 I had an accident where I was paralyzed. And I was in the hospital one day, laying there, and all of a sudden in walks Karen Morton, 6'3" of her, and she walks in to see me over in Nashville in the hospital. And we talk a long, long time, and she leaves me with this letter, and she says, "You can read this after I leave." So after she left, I pulled out the letter from Karen, and she just basically talked about what a great experience it was to come to Carson-Newman as a student athlete, to have the faculty that worked with her from Mr. Hart and the computer program, and the awards she won here. She said the greatest thing that ever happened in her whole life was come to Carson-Newman College and have an opportunity to play basketball here and be a part of the student athlete. And she said it's more like friends instead of basketball to her. So that was a crowning point to me as far as the kind of person Karen Morton was.
Coach, you were really on the cutting edge. Carson-Newman in the late 70s was the first school in our conference to scholarship women's basketball. A lot of your networking, Andy Landers, Jim Davis, Brenda Paul. What was it about Carson-Newman, philosophically, distinctively Christian, that attracted you to come and be our basketball coach?
Well, I think I could describe Carson-Newman if you just kind of took one basketball game here at Carson-Newman. And we had millions of them, but it could have been against LMU, it could have been against Union, it could have been against Alabama. But down that corner would be Frosty Holt. You heard Coach Lively talk about him. Frosty would be down there holding court, discussing everything known to man. At that time, he was probably losing his sight, but he knew everything that was going on in the basketball court. So he was an amazing, amazing person. And it gets foggy at Mossy Creek. I think he coined that phrase, didn't he? Then if you go over to the middle, there would be the football team, Coach Sparks' football team. You'd have Murdoch, the football players, they were the greatest 6 player you ever had in your life. Murdoch would be down there, he'd have the other team crying as they warmed up. So that, you think of that, you got Frosty in one corner, the football team here holding court, great, great, great 6 player. I remember we were playing Union. Union was 28-1, we were 29-1, 3-4 in the nation with a right to go to the national tournament. And actually, we ended up winning a great, great basketball game. Both teams should have went, but we ended up getting to go to the national tournament. And after the game, David Blackstock, who was the coach and athletic director at Union College, he says, in the whole United States, there's only one place we could have lost at, and that's Carson-Newman College. I thought that was the ultimate compliment of Mossy Creek, So you got Frosty, you got the football team, you got the fans. Now in this corner, Amen Corner I call it, all the faculty. And that's what Carson-Newman was all about, the faculty. They never give you anything, but they never took anything from you. They were always willing to go the extra mile to help the kids. If there was a problem, they would call you about them. And the faculty was a part of your program. I mean, we did weekly checks as far as academics and everything, and the faculty was always the most helpful faculty you could ever ask, and I think it made a huge difference in our kids. And then you pan on around, there would be like my sister, her husband, they'd be at the ball game. My nephews crawling around the floor, just a family atmosphere for basketball at Carson-Newman. And last, usually behind our bench, would be Dr. Maddox, the president, Bill Powell, who's head of the Board of Trustees. And they were, like I said, just the extra thing you need, a president, our athletic director, Coach Sparks, everybody very, very involved in the basketball program. One night we're playing, I don't know who it was, we were up probably by 20 points, and I'd been giving the referee some help. As referee runs by, me and Vicky, he goes, "One more word, Coach Bivens, it's going to be a T. One more word out of you." So I quit talking. Next time down the floor, the referee runs by, and I hear a voice out of the stands, "Hey, rabbit ears, you need to wake up." The referee turns around and teased me. Of course, this is Dr. Maddox, our president, has just said that's the referee as he goes by, okay? So about 30 seconds later, they shoot the tackle, and I hear Dr. Maddox go, "Now, Coach Bivens, you're going to have to stay off those officials the rest of the ball game." So it was, like I said, it was a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere. We had players like Missy, who's here today, Vicky, who played for me. They give you everything they had every night, on the floor and off the floor. So it was just a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere that you'd want to coach in.
Women's basketball was in here practicing this morning before we set up for the Hall of Fame induction. And I've noticed up on the scoreboard we're down 20 to 25. Do you have a 5-point play?
We did. We had an 8-second play. We had a play for everything.
What is your most memorable win?
Well, we had a lot of them, but that Union win was a great one. And then we beat Alabama here at home one time. I think they polished us off by about 40 at Alabama, and they come rolling in pretty confident. Like I said, Alabama was Division I. They came up to play in our tournament, and that was one of the big wins we had here. And, of course, a lot of the battles you had with LMU. So you couldn't name one particular win, but there were so many great ones. Like I said, Union to get us to the national tournament a couple of times, Alabama win here at home, and, of course, always being LMU is a big deal in the conference.
Favorite Lady Eagle experience?
You know, there were so many. Going to the national tournament, I think in terms of experience, it was just the total thing. Coaching the people that you were able to coach, the kids getting their degrees, going out, and you look at how successful they are. Vicky's still here, teaching, coaching, Missy, physical therapist, and these kids all have done so well in life. So I think when you see them do really well, that's the experience you really look for.
This guy coached 6 All-Americans: Dana Caldwell, Missy Brown, Lisa Stogner, now Karen Morton, his assistant coach, Vicky Kazee Hollifield, and now joining them in the Carson-Newman Athletic Hall of Fame, Coach Lewis Bivens.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir.